So the CEO of Next Level Burger in West Burnside, Portland, Oregon, he indicated that there was one very disturbing situation that happened that closed this restaurant down. And he said, I don't want to ask one of those team members to do something I don't want to do myself. What was that? What was that event? What closed down this very popular burger restaurant right outside a huge stadium in Portland, Oregon? Let's get into it. Here we go.
We begin tonight with a popular plant-based burger chain that's permanently closed one of its Portland locations, citing safety concerns. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anthony Costura, and this is The 10. Tonight, the CEO of Next Level Burger opens up about the decision to close their West Burnside location, the tipping point, and what it says about the state of the city. The doors are locked, the kitchen closed. Next Level Burger is now winding down this location along West Burnside after just 3 years.
It was just a very, very disturbing situation, and one that was, the final straw.
He didn't want to expand on that incident, but CEO Matt DeGruyter says what happened on April 29th involved a mental health or substance crisis with an unhoused person. He says it capped off a pattern of theft, loitering, and constant safety concerns for his customers and his team.
I don't ever want to ask one of those team members to do something I don't want to do myself.
He says
What do you think it was? What do you think it was? I think it was a kill or be killed kind of deal. They were like getting into that zone, that kind of space where if this guy keeps doing what he's doing and he's mentally unstable and he's out of his mind on drugs, if he keeps going this direction, one of us is going to have to step in here and take this dude out. I think that's what it was. I think that's what a lot of these safety concerns are all about. You've got big corporate going, okay, we're not making a lot of money at that store. And you got a bunch of nut jobs running around that could create a safety concern issue like this, meaning extreme violence, extreme mental instability, extreme use of drugs. So we're seeing this all over. We're seeing this in Starbucks here in Seattle, but it's happening on the common. And corporate isn't saying anything because they don't want to point out that, hey, Portland, you're really hosed. We got to go, because they might still be doing business in other areas of town that aren't impacted as much by the mentally disturbed and or whacked out on drugs homeless population. Well, let's keep going.
Crowds from Providence Park used to boost business, but none of his other Portland spots saw this kind of danger after dark. Now the whole strip is empty. Wells Fargo, Verizon, and Next Level all gone. Even the Chipotle across the street is shut down. We talked to one security guard about what he's seen in the area.
A lot of people literally defecating in the parking lots, along the street. People are real angry. It's really dirty. It's not a fun place to work up down.
Matt stressed it wasn't.
Sounds terrible.
And it's not all of Portland.
Portland has been very, very good to us. The Burnside location, by far and away, was the worst for the degree and the constancy of the issues that or at least in part due to homelessness and houselessness.
Matt's watching changes.
So that right there, that's as much of a mission that you're going to hear from anybody that, hey, number one, it was a safety concern, meaning you got a homeless person that's just absolutely bombed out of their skull on something, or just so mentally unstable that they're creating a situation where corporate decides, you know what, we're closing that store down. I don't want to have somebody get killed. I don't want to be that business with my name of my company in the story headlined. We don't want to be that entity known for having the murder of a homeless dude, or homeless dude murder somebody else. We don't want to be that company. So it's literally, how much money did they stick into this location? It's a nice looking, and when we say burger, we're talking vegetarian burger. All right. Not my thing, but whatever. It's Portland. So that's what you're going to have. Let's watch the end of the video here.
To Oregon's bottle drop law, since returns have been tied to rising problems where people return them. He's also eyeing City Council's move to pull $2 million from police and shift it to parks. He says with fewer cops and bigger problems, he's hoping Portland figures out a solution soon before more businesses call it quits.
It's up to all of us to make sure of it. And I just think we can do better. And it pains me to say that Portland isn't one of the best in this area.
Portland is one of the worst in this area. Seattle is one of the worst in this area. San Francisco is one of the worst. LA is one of the worst. It's because you've got Democratic leadership, progressive Democratic leadership. And this is the direction they take you. We saw the super quick segment on the bottles. So you've got the homeless population can get 10 cents a bottle or can, whatever it is, back. And so they go there, they take in a couple hundred, they can get a few bucks together, go out and buy their fentanyl. Fentanyl is less than $1 a hit in Portland. So you've created this situation where, hey, we're going to legalize drugs. Yeah, we're going to pay you for, recycling being really green. But then when that impacts the actual population, the tax-paying population, they're basically hands off. Because as you heard from that individual, there wasn't any, talk about the police being there. Police have basically told them, hey, you're on your own. You're on your own until something really bad happens. That is reading between the lines here, right? So you've got the bottle issue of these stores that cater to the homeless, basically bringing bottles in and getting a few bucks. You got a lot of people hanging out. You got people robbing other people. You got people coming to the stores at all hours. You got weird people need their hits in the middle of the night and these places are open. And, so you've got that as an issue. Then you've got the $2 million issue of, we're not going to keep money earmarked for the police. We're going to give it to Parks and Rec. I mean, that's how you literally become worst at anything, is you don't allocate resources where you need to. And then you've got resources where you shouldn't have them, which is anywhere near a major homeless population.
Soon after opening there on Burnside, Next Level Burger raised $20 million to fuel big expansion plans across the United States. They still have 2 locations in the Portland area and now own Veggie Grill, which also has 2 locations in Portland.
So I really commend the CEO there for taking 80% responsibility for giving that statement of what happened. He didn't want to come right out and say, hey, we had a nut job in here, whacked out of his mind on drugs, and we were going to have to take him out. And I didn't really know what to do. And I can't ask my employee, hey, could you take that pipe wrench and whack that individual over the head over there just to lay him out, and then we can get the cops to come in? Because by then that guy would have, already been doing something. Whatever that nut job was doing, did he have a knife? Did he have a weapon? We don't really know, because there was as far as I can tell, there was no police report, but there was a pretty significant incident that happened. And by that, we mean a homeless person on drugs, huge mental instability, doing something crazy at the store. And that same person came back the next day. Just, here I am. Ben founded burger chain, Bend, Oregon. It's closing one of its Portland outposts due to safety concerns. Oh, I love that. And, I talk about that all the time. We have safety concerns. Well, that makes it sound like it's just, you've got people not walking on the sidewalk. They're walking a little bit off the sidewalk, safety concerns. I have concern for their safety. Not, you got some nut job with a knife or a machete or whatever just running around. And we literally had the homeless dude, no shirt, running around with a knife for 3 days before the police chief of Portland said, hey, get that bastard. You need to corral this guy, because that creates safety concerns. On Wednesday morning, Next Level Burger informed customers of the closure of its 1972 West Burnside restaurant. So let's take a quick peek at where that is. All right, the big red dot in the center of your map there, that is outside of Big Sports Field. That should be a great place for this kind of location. But you've also got a Fred Meyer across the street, and all the other businesses in this little strip mall have already closed down. So, here's kind of your downtown area off to the right. You got 405 here. You've got Old Town over here. Small community, but you've got a bunch of homeless throughout these areas. But Burnside, West Burnside, It sounds like you've got a special breed of folks. At Next Level, we're committed to creating safe, welcoming spaces for our team, our guests, and the communities we serve, Next Level wrote, following a pause in operations due to a significant incident during service. We've made the difficult decision to close our West Burnside location due to ongoing security concerns in the surrounding area. How much money was dumped into this? $500,000? Million? I don't know. You know what I mean? Get one of these little things going up and running? I don't know. I don't know how much money was dumped. Maybe it's 100, maybe it's 200, depending on what the infrastructure was on this space beforehand. But it's only been up 3 years. So let's say they made enormous, huge profits over the course of 3 years. They're making the decision to close down and lose money. That is a better opportunity than having one of their store employees, management, food vendor, or patrons of the veggie burger get murdered or get assaulted or get whatever by the nut job running around on the sidewalk with a knife, sword, machete, whatever. It's a better option to close it down and lose money because then you're still in business. This decision was not made lightly, but nothing comes before the safety of our team members and guests. Because if somebody is killed at your establishment, hey, you want to go to Next Level Burger? Didn't they have a murder last month at the store? Yeah, let's go to McDonald's. Let's go to Burger King. Oh, they don't have veggie burgers. Yeah, but you're gonna live. The company has multiple plant-based burger joints remaining in the Portland area, including a location on Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard and another in Lake Oswego. Next Level also owns Veggie Grill, which is a downtown restaurant in addition to a space in Beaverton Cedar Hills Crossing. But Next Level Burnside business has faced several challenges. Let's just admit it. This location is an absolute shit show. It is. I ran through all of the news stories I could find, and there's typically, your typical just nonsense going on. Bunch of calls, bunch of 911 fire calls. You got people running around just doing crazy Portland homeless stuff, same as Seattle. But this particular location you've got just a ton of small businesses that have ditched out of there, including Chipotle. Now, Chipotle should be a winner with, this big ball field going on. And it's not just a ball field. I think Post Malone and some other artists were going to be there. So it's a big venue. It's got a lot going on. But if you got a bunch of nut jobs running around, maybe it's not going to be so great. And there's also a Plaid Pantry, which accepts the bottle recycling deal. That's not good. You got Fred Meyer. People go to Fred Meyer to shoplift. So you got a bunch of homeless coming right into this area because they're from this area and they're doing their thing and they're creating public safety issues. According to the Portland Police Bureau spokesperson, that location last called officers to report an incident in July of 2022. We are almost 3 years later. So they've been basically acting on their own. Just, defending their own turf. Later in November of 2023, employees went to social media to reveal they had faced vandalism twice in that month alone. But they didn't call the cops. There's no police report. So they're handling this on their own. Additionally, Portland Police data show that there were 1,302 offenses reported in the surrounding Goose Hollow neighborhood from March 24 to March 25. 1,300 offenses in a fairly small area. Vandalism accounted for 200 of those offenses. You just got a bunch of people that don't live normal lives, that just live way out over their skis, right? We'll do drugs forever. What could possibly go wrong? Matt DeGruyter, the CEO of Next Level Burger, told Coin 6 News one particular very disturbing situation. Now, when a CEO says that and he still has businesses in the city, and he comes right out and says, that was a very disturbing situation, that means something really bad happened. Because otherwise, they're just going to keep going. All right, nut job came in and pissed on all of our floor. Okay, that's terrible. Somebody's defecating on the sidewalk. Okay, yeah, that's terrible. God, where was I reading? Was it L.A., downtown L.A.? There was a woman just spread eagle, naked out in the middle of the intersection, and they had to stop traffic to get her out of the intersection. She's just, don't run over me. I mean, these people need huge amounts of help, and they're not getting them. And Portland isn't helping them. Seattle isn't helping them. San Fran isn't helping them. And it served as the final straw for choosing to close the Burnside location. So you got one incident that was so bad that it created a situation where closed. And that's what we hear about all the time, but typically not to this extent from the CEO, where there's like one deal. All right, we're not going through this anymore, because it must have been so close to actually, something happening that is a, you don't return from kind of deal. All right. So you had to take out a kitchen knife. You had to take out one of those big cleavers and stab somebody in self-defense, because that's what they were doing to your customer. Something like that. Doesn't exactly scream, hey, come into our venue and get a vegetable patty burger. Does it? No. Though DeGrider didn't divulge the details of the situation because he's trying to keep whatever semblance of relationship with the city going. You don't want to, what's the saying? You don't want to crap where you eat? Kind of along those lines. He said it happened on April 29th and involved a mental health or substance crisis with an unhoused person. Shocker. This is what happens when you allow people to live wherever the F they want. This is what happens when you decriminalize drugs. This is what happens when you hand out 10,000 tarps, 1,500 tents in a year. This is what happens. Not that hard to figure out. What can we do to make the city better? I'm really surprised that the city isn't better. And you're like, well, what are you doing to make that happen? Nothing really. We're diverting $2 million from the police budget. We're going to give it to Parks and Rec so that, the homeless have a real nice park to put up their tent, which we're no longer giving them, but we are. It's a whole nother podcast. He said it was a culmination of a pattern he'd seen of theft, loitering, and constant safety concerns for his customers and employees. We hear this all the time, but we don't get that next level statement of, oh my gosh, there was one incident. It was really bad. We're out. We're dipping out. We're done. I mean, for a business owner, I don't care who you are, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or whatever, when you have struggled that long to try and make a business go, you're not going to take that decision lightly. So whatever it was bad. Even by Portland standards, it was bad, because they're basically last man standing on the block, right? And they're looking around going, good Lord, even Chipotle shut down. I don't want to ask one of those team members to do something I don't want to do myself. Now, what would that be? Let me know what you think it was. Let me know what you think the scenario was. Or if you're in Portland and you've heard rumors of exactly what this was, let me know. Let me know in the comments, because that's what I think it was. The guy was threatening somebody, and it was going to be one of those, they don't talk him off the ledge. Somebody's going to have to get involved, and it's not going to be pretty, no matter which way it goes. Kill or be killed. Assault or be assaulted. Something along those lines. DeGrider said that he used to enjoy a boost of business from Providence Park crowds. However, none of his other Portland spots have seen this kind of danger after dark, because you got a bunch of nut jobs running throughout the neighborhood on drugs, whacked out of their mind. Pretty normal. It's pretty normal. I mean, literally, what was it? A couple of weeks ago, I'm podcasting about the dude with the knife on his back, and Portland police decide to stand down and not create a confrontation with the guy because the guy has a beef with police. This is a whacked out nut job homeless dude. He's just running around, no shirt on, and a knife in his back, on his back in a scabbard. And you can check out that podcast, but this is nothing new. You got lunatics running around and then business owners going, good Lord, I wish it wasn't this bad. Coin 6 talked to a security guard near the same shopping district. That's the guy we heard saying, people are defecating on the streets. People are upset because the neighborhood isn't what it should be. Near the same shopping district where other recent closures are now represented by empty storefronts, including a former Wells Fargo, Verizon, and a Chipotle across the street. Chipotle. That was a big one. That was like, oh, Chipotle left? Okay. All right. Security guard said he's seen everything from people defecating in parking lots to nearby residents angry at how dirty the streets have become. Well, it's because your leadership doesn't have the balls to clean it up and make it go away. Other cities do. Other cities can make that happen. Here's something. Here is something that I came across in the Reddit thread that I thought was extremely true, sad, but true when you're talking about how to handle. It's talking about the impossible trinity, the impossible trinity of cheap, effective, and humane. Cheap, effective, and humane, talking about the homeless population. What are ways that you can deal with them? So cheap and humane, this is a thing you can do. Cheap and humane, but not effective. Warn the homeless population against future behavior going in to Next Level Burger. Warn them. So that's not going to do anything. Effective and humane. You've got effective and humane, but not cheap. The third component. Medical attention and treatment, which is what these people all need. The third one, effective and cheap, but not humane. 2 words, shooting them. That is not humane at all. Putting them out of their misery. Like a horse that's got a broken leg and you're way the heck out. Put a bullet in its head, right? I mean, that's just what you do. But you can't do that because these are people and you have allowed them to get to this point in life and you're not really doing anything to help them. So that's how you get people defecating in parking lots and makes nearby residents angry. DeGrider said that it wasn't always like this and it doesn't represent all of Portland today. No. And, some of the stuff we see in Seattle, it doesn't represent all of Seattle, but it gives all of Seattle a bad name. And you know what? Why shouldn't it? Hey, we got 25 million people coming in as tourists in Seattle, but you got this little segment over here. You got Ballard. You got a whole bunch of communities that just have all these homeless folks, and it ain't pretty. It's not pretty. Portland has been very good to us, DeGrider said. The Burnside location by far and away was the worst for the degree and constancy of the issues that were in part due to homelessness. See, he's trying to give it out. Hey, it wasn't all homelessness. Yeah, it was. Let's be honest. Yeah, it was. Despite the setbacks, DeGrider said that he's hopeful the city and its residents will figure out how to make shopping districts like the Goose Hollow neighborhood more appealing for businesses to not only set up shop, but remain there. Okay? All right? You know what I mean? These business owners in big, blue, liberal cities, they want the best. They believe the best, but they're not willing to put their vote to get somebody in there who's actually going to turn the city around. What are the tax bases? What's happening to the tax bases in these big cities? What's happening to the tax base in Portland? What's happening to the tax base in Seattle? These areas where you've got all these high rises and then you've got homeless folks. What's happening there? You're hollowing out all the businesses because you've got public safety issues street level. Until you square that away, good luck. You can hope all you want. DeGrider said that he's hopeful that the city and its residents will figure out how to make shopping districts. You gotta get more cops and you gotta load the streets with cops. It's not that hard. They go around, hey, you can't shit in the street. Hey, you can't be doing drugs right there. Hey, you can't steal from that store. I'm sorry, we're going to have to arrest you. But the constituents of these cities, they have voted this in time and time and time and time and time again. State of Washington, we got $9 billion in new taxes to take care of just nonsense like this. Not necessarily putting more cops on the street, but just a whole litany of social programs. We got to give them a tent. We got to give them a tarp. We got to give them food. Got to give them everything but the drugs. Build it and they will come. They have come, and now you've literally got, like we saw in this story, a specific incident that happened that was so bad that all the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars invested, time, effort, location, scouting location, getting your permits in, all of that, just overnight, boom, done, we're gone. Because the alternative is somebody's going to get killed, somebody's going to get maimed, somebody's going to get assaulted. And that is even worse than shutting one location down because it impacts the whole chain, right? It impacts the whole chain. So is this a shocker? No, not by any means at all. And meanwhile, you've got a situation where Portland leadership is saying, well, crime is down, crime's down. Maybe, but that's because it was so elevated during the fentanyl Floyd era. It was so elevated. So now it's come down, but it's still not good. And the way that you see that is you got Starbucks in downtown Seattle saying, we're out of here. You got McDonald's downtown Chicago. We're out of here. You got Next Level Burger in Portland. You got Chipotle all leaving because of safety concerns. On my end, I got podcasts for days. Whew. Yeah, it's crazy, right? All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you on the next one. Love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.